Dr. Minho Kang stared at the numbers on his screen for the third time. His hand shook as he checked the calculations again. After 15 years of secret work, the impossible had finally happened. The quantum equations were perfect. Ji-won, come, look at this, he called to his partner across the underground laboratory. The lab sat deep beneath Seoul, hidden from the watching eyes of the Galactic Council. No one knew it existed except for the small team that worked there. Ji-won Park looked up from her engineering station. Metal parts and strange devices covered her desk. She had been building the drive system for months, following Minho's designs. What is it? Did you find another problem? No problems, Minho said. His voice was quiet but excited. I think we did it. The quantum fold drive should work. Ji-won dropped her tools and rushed over. She looked at the screen full of numbers and symbols. Most people could not understand the complex math, but Ji-won had learned to read it like a story. Her eyes grew wide. Are you sure? She asked. This says we can fold space-time itself. We could travel faster than light without using the councils. Jump gates, Minho nodded. The quantum particles become linked across vast distances. When we activate the drive, our ship should appear instantly at the target location. No hyperlanes, no council control. For over 50 years, humanity had been trapped in their own solar system. The Galactic Council claimed it was for everyone's safety. They said humans were too young and dangerous to have faster-than-light travel. Only council-approved ships could use the jump gate network that connected the stars. But Minho knew the truth. The council kept species trapped on purpose. They wanted to control who could travel between worlds. They wanted to stay in power forever. Soft chime came from the communication system. Taehyun Lee's voice filled the lab. Minho, Ji-won, we have a problem. Council ships are doing extra patrols around Earth today. Taehyun had once been Earth's ambassador to the Council. He had tried to negotiate for human freedom, but the Council had thrown him out of their space. Now he helped coordinate the secret project from his hidden base on Luna. How bad is it? Ji-won asked, speaking into the communicator. Not terrible, but we need to be more careful. So-young is monitoring their communications. She says they are looking for unusual quantum signatures. Near Earth, So-young Kim was their eyes and ears in space. She worked as a data analyst for Earth's official government, but secretly she watched everything the Council did. Her job gave her access to communication networks that most humans never saw. Minho felt his heart racing. Had the Council detected their experiments? Do they know about the lab? No, Taehyun said, but they know someone is working with quantum technology. We need to finish the project quickly before they find us. Ji-won looked at the half-built drive on her workbench. How quickly? Days, not weeks, Taehyun replied. Can you do it? Minho and Ji-won looked at each other. They had planned to spend months testing each part of the system. Now they had to rush everything. We can try, Minho said. But if something goes wrong, then humanity stays trapped forever. Ji-won finished his sentence. Let's get to work. For the next 3 days, they barely slept. Minho checked and rechecked every equation while Ji-won built the drive components. The quantum fold drive was unlike anything that had ever been created. Instead of punching holes through space like the Council's hyperlanes, it would bend space-time itself. The science was simple in theory, but incredibly difficult in practice. Two quantum particles could become entangled, meaning they stayed connected no matter how far apart they were. If you changed one particle, the other would change instantly, even across the galaxy. The Council used quantum entanglement for communication, but they had never thought to use it for transportation. They were too focused on their old technology to see new possibilities. On the third night, Ji-won finished building the prototype drive. It was small enough to fit in a spacecraft the size of a probe. The device looked like a crystal surrounded by metal rings. Strange blue energy flowed through. The crystal when powered on. It's beautiful, Minho said, watching the energy patterns. Are you ready for the test? Ji-won nodded, though her hands were shaking slightly. I've built everything according to your designs. The quantum field generator should create the space-time fold. The navigation system will target Proxima Centauri. They had chosen Proxima Centauri because it was close to Earth but outside the solar system. If the test worked, the probe would travel over 4 light-years in seconds. If it failed, they would know quickly. So-young's voice came through the communicator. Council patrol ships are on the far side of Earth right now. You have a clear window for testing. Minho took a deep breath. 15 years of work came down to this moment. Activate the drive. Jiwan pressed the button. The probe, sitting on the lab table, began to glow with blue light. The quantum field generator hummed with power. The space around the probe started to shimmer like heat waves on a hot day. Then, without any sound or flash, the probe simply vanished. Minho and Jiwan stared at the empty table. The probe was gone completely. No explosion, no trace of where it went. Just empty air where their life's work had been sitting. Did it work? Jiwan whispered. Minho checked his instruments. The quantum signature shows successful field generation. The space-time fold happened exactly as predicted. He paused, looking at more data. But we won't know if it reached the target until... His communicator buzzed with an incoming signal. The signal was coming from the direction of Proxima Centauri. Minho's hands shook as he opened the transmission. The probe's voice came through clearly. Test successful. Arrived at Proxima Centauri system. Time of travel, 2.3 seconds. All systems functioning normally. Jiwan grabbed Minho's arm. We did it! We actually did it! But Minho was already thinking about what came next. This changes everything, Jiwan. Humanity can finally leave the solar system. We can explore the galaxy without asking the Council for permission. They won't like that, Jiwan said. When the Council finds out... They won't find out for a while, Minho replied. The quantum fold drive leaves no trail they can follow, no hyperlane signatures, no quantum wake. As far as their sensors can tell, our ships will just disappear and reappear like ghosts. Over the next hour, they tested the probe's recall function. With another activation of the drive, the probe folded space-time again and returned to Earth instantly. The system worked perfectly in both directions. Taehyun's excited voice filled the lab. I'm seeing the data from here. This is incredible. How soon can we build a drive big enough for a manned ship? Jiwan was already sketching designs. Give me 2 weeks. I can scale up the quantum field generator and build a drive for a small research vessel. Do it, Minho said. But we need to be careful about who knows. If the Council discovers what we've done before we're ready... They won't, So-young's voice interrupted. I'm monitoring all their communications. Right now they think the quantum signatures are just natural space phenomena. They have no idea that humans have developed independent FTL technology. Minho looked at the spot where the probe had vanished and returned. For the first time in his life, he felt truly free. Humanity had been caged for decades, told they were too primitive for the stars. But now they had the key to their own cage. The Galactic Council had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. They controlled every hyperlane, every jump gate, every path between the stars. They decided which species could travel and which ones stayed home. But they had made one crucial mistake. They had underestimated humanity's ability to find a completely different path to the stars. As Minho began planning their next steps, he smiled. The Council thought they were the masters of space travel. Soon, they would learn that humans had become something they could never expect. Completely independent. The age of human freedom was about to begin, and the Council had no idea what was coming. Captain Hyunwoo Nam checked his instruments one final time. The Soul's Pride was humanity's first starship equipped with the quantum fold drive. It looked like a normal research vessel from the outside, but hidden in its core was the most revolutionary technology the galaxy had ever seen. All systems ready, Captain, reported Engineer Minji Han from her station. The new drive hummed quietly in the ship's engine room. Unlike the massive hyperlane generators used by Council ships, the quantum fold drive was surprisingly small and silent. Dr. Choi, are you prepared for first contact protocols? Hyunwoo asked. Dr. Yoonji Choi nodded from her position at the science station. She had studied every known alien species for years, preparing for this moment. All translation systems are active. Medical scanners are ready in case we encounter unknown biology. Commander Jinwoo Yu sat at the tactical station, though he hoped they would not need weapons. Defense systems are online, but I recommend we avoid any aggressive actions. We don't know how other species will react to our technology. Hyunwoo took a deep breath. Minji, activate the quantum fold drive. Destination, Kepler 442b, folding space-time in 3, 2, 1. The universe twisted around them. For a brief moment that felt like eternity, Hyunwoo could see stars bending and stretching like rubber bands. Then everything snapped back to normal, and they were somewhere completely different. Jump successful, Minji reported. We are now in the Kepler 442 system, 1,200 light-years from Earth. Travel time, 1.7 seconds. Through the main view screen, they could see a blue and green planet orbiting a red dwarf star. According to their intelligence, this world was home to the Zephyrians, a species that had been trying to develop faster-than-light travel for centuries. I'm detecting artificial structures on the surface, Yoonji said, studying her sensors. Large cities, but the technology level seems deliberately limited. No spaceflight capability beyond basic satellites. This matched what Taehyun had told them. The Galactic Council kept most species trapped on their home worlds, claiming it was for galactic stability. Only Council member species were allowed to travel between stars. Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from the planet, Jinwoo announced. They're asking who we are and demanding to know how we arrived without using the jump gate network. Hyunwoo smiled. The nearest Council jump gate was 50 light-years away. According to official records, it was impossible to reach Kepler 442b without Council permission. Open a channel, he ordered. This is Captain Hyunwoo Nam of the Earth vessel Soul's Pride. We come in peace and wish to speak with your leaders. The response came quickly, but the alien voice sounded confused and suspicious. Earth vessel? The Council database shows no approval for human ships in this system. How did you travel here? We would prefer to explain that in person, Hyunwoo replied. May we request permission to land? There was a long pause. Finally, the alien voice returned. You may land at coordinates we are transmitting, but be warned. If this is some Council trick, we will not cooperate. The Soul's Pride descended through the planet's atmosphere toward a large city built near a mountain range. The buildings were tall and graceful, with curved walls that seemed to flow like water. Gardens and parks filled the spaces between structures. Beautiful architecture, Yoonji commented. The Zephyrians clearly value harmony with nature. They landed in a designated area outside the city. A group of aliens approached their ship cautiously. The Zephyrians were tall and slender, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. They moved with fluid grace, almost like they were dancing. The leader of the group stepped forward as Hyunwoo and his team exited their ship. I am Elder Krishna of the Zephyrian Council. You claim to be from Earth, but Earth ships cannot travel to other star systems. The Galactic Council forbids it. The Galactic Council doesn't control us anymore, Hyunwoo said simply. We have developed our own method of faster-than-light travel. Elder Krishna's large eyes showed disbelief. Impossible. The Council controls all hyperlane technology. They have for 1,000 years. No species has ever developed independent FTL capability. Would you like us to demonstrate? Yoonji asked, stepping forward with a friendly smile. The elder looked suspicious. Demonstrate how? Hyunwoo pointed to one of Kepler 442b's 2 small moons, visible in the day sky. We can travel to your moon and return in less than a minute. No hyperlanes, no Council gates, just our technology. The gathered Zephyrians began talking among themselves in rapid musical voices. Elder Krishna raised her hand for silence. You would do this knowing we are watching? You would reveal your method of travel to strangers? We hope you won't be strangers for long, Hyunwoo replied. And yes, we want you to see how it works. The galaxy has been controlled by fear and scarcity for too long. The humans returned to their ship, while the Zephyrians watched from a safe distance. Hyunwoo could see dozens of recording devices pointed at them. Minji, take us to the larger moon and back, he ordered. Make it impressive. The quantum fold, drive activated. Space twisted again, and suddenly they were floating in space near the moon. Through the view screen, they could see Kepler 442b hanging below them like a blue jewel. Amazing, Jinwoo breathed. I'll never get used to instant travel. Back to the surface, Minji, Hyunwoo said. Another space fold, and they were landing again in the same spot. Total time away, 37 seconds. The Zephyrians were staring at them with a mixture of awe and terror. Elder Krishna approached slowly as if she feared they might vanish again. "How?" she whispered. "How is this possible?" Dr. Yunji brought out a small device that projected holographic images. "We call it the quantum fold drive. Instead of traveling through space, we fold space itself. The distance between 2 points becomes 0. She showed them simplified diagrams of quantum entanglement and space-time manipulation. The Zephyrians watched with growing excitement. "For centuries, we have tried to develop our own FTL technology," Elder Krishna said. "Every time we make progress, Council agents arrive and destroy our research. They claim independent FTL development violates galactic law." "There is no galactic law," Hyunwoo said firmly. "Only Council control. They want to keep other species dependent on their jump gate network." "But why would they do this?" asked another Zephyrian scientist. "Power," Jinwoo answered. "If you control how people travel, you control where they can go, what they can trade, who they can talk to. The Council has built an empire based on artificial scarcity." Elder Krishna's expression hardened. "We suspected this, but we had no proof. The Council claims they maintain the jump gates for everyone's benefit." "Have you ever seen the restricted sectors?" Yunji asked. "The systems that are marked as dangerous or off-limits?" "Of course. The Council says those areas contain hostile species or dangerous phenomena." "Some do," Hyunwoo admitted. "But others contain species like yours, intelligent, peaceful civilizations that the Council keeps isolated and controlled. They don't want you talking to each other or sharing technology." The implications hit the Zephyrians like a physical blow. Their society had been shaped by the belief that they were alone, except for the Council's guidance. Learning that dozens of other species were in the same situation changed everything. "Can you teach us to build this drive?" Elder Krishna asked hopefully. "That's why we're here," Yunji replied. "But we need to be careful. If the Council discovers what we're doing, they will try to stop us," the Elder finished. "We understand. But after centuries of being told we are too primitive for the stars, we are willing to take the risk." Over the next several hours, the human team shared basic principles of quantum fold technology with Zephyrian scientists. They were careful not to reveal everything at once, but they provided enough information for the Zephyrians to begin their own research. As they worked, Minji monitored space around the planet. "Captain, I'm detecting quantum signatures approaching the system. Council ships probably investigating our arrival." "How long until they get here?" Hyunwoo asked. 6 hours, assuming they use standard hyperlane travel. Elder Krishna looked worried. "Council ships mean interrogation and punishment. They will want to know how you reached our world." "Then we won't be here when they arrive," Hyunwoo said. "But first we need to establish secure communication with your people." Yunji handed the Elder a small quantum communicator. "This device uses the same entanglement principles as our drive. We can talk instantly across any distance without the Council detecting our transmissions." "Incredible," the Elder breathed. "In one day you have given us hope for true freedom." "This is just the beginning," Hyunwoo promised. "There are dozens of species like yours scattered across the galaxy. When we work together, the Council won't be able to stop us." As the Soul's Pride prepared to depart, Elder Krishna made a formal declaration. "The Zephyrian people will remember this day. For the first time in our history, we see a path to the stars that doesn't require begging for Council permission. Guard this technology carefully," Jinwoo warned. "Share it only with species you trust completely. The Council will do anything to maintain their control." The quantum fold drive activated one final time, and the Soul's Pride vanished from Zephyrian space just as smoothly as it had arrived. Behind them, they left a world transformed by the simple knowledge that freedom was possible. Ambassador Da-Yun Shin received the encrypted message while she was having breakfast in her quarters aboard the diplomatic station Harmony. The quantum communicator buzzed softly, displaying text that would change the course of galactic history. "Ambassador, this is Elder Veltar of the Mindorian Republic. We have heard whispers of human ships appearing in systems without Council approval. Our resistance network requests immediate contact." Da-Hyun smiled as she read similar messages from 17 other species. Word of humanity's revolutionary technology was spreading faster than anyone had expected. In just 3 weeks since the Soul's Pride first contacted the Zephyrians, The secret had jumped across hundreds of light years through underground communication networks. "Computer, send a message to Dr. Sunho Bay," she spoke to her communication system. "Tell him we need 12 more quantum fold drives within the month. The demand is growing exponentially." Back on Earth, Dr. Sunho Bay was already working around the clock with his team. Researcher Yuna Lim calibrated quantum field generators, while technician Dongmin Seo assembled the delicate crystal matrices that made space folding possible. "We're producing drives as fast as we can," Sunho told his exhausted team. "But we need to maintain quality. One failed drive could expose the entire network." The workshop hummed with activity. Unlike the massive facilities used to build Council hyperlane generators, the quantum fold drive manufacturing process was surprisingly compact. A small team could produce a drive capable of moving a starship in just 2 weeks. Yuna looked up from her calibration station. "Dr. Bay, I'm concerned about security. If the Council captures one of our drives and reverse engineers it, they won't understand it," Dongmin interrupted confidently. "The quantum entanglement principles are beyond their current science. They've relied on hyperlane technology for so long, they've stopped innovating." Sunho nodded but remained cautious. "Still, we include self-destruct mechanisms in every drive. If tampered with by unauthorized personnel, the quantum crystals will shatter and become useless." Meanwhile, in space above Earth, Colonel Sungmin Park coordinated military operations from the command ship Freedom's Dawn. His tactical display showed the positions of human ships throughout the galaxy, each one carrying precious cargo to allied species. "Colonel, the Rigelian system is requesting immediate assistance," reported his communications officer. "Council forces are threatening to destroy their colonies unless they reveal the source of recent impossible ship movements in their space." Seungmin studied the tactical situation. The Rigelians had been one of the first species to receive quantum fold technology, and they had used it to establish hidden research stations in nearby systems. The Council had noticed the unusual activity but couldn't explain how ships were moving without using jump gates. "Send the Wolfpack Squadron," Seungmin ordered. "Hit the Council blockade ships and extract the Rigelian leadership. Make it look like a coordinated attack by multiple species." The Wolfpack was a group of 5 human ships, each equipped with advanced quantum fold drives and experimental weapons. Unlike traditional space battles where ships had to travel through predictable hyperlane routes, Wolfpack could appear anywhere instantly. Captain Wu Jinjung led the squadron aboard his ship, Quantum Ghost. "All ships fold to the Rigelian system. Attack pattern Delta. We appear, strike hard, and vanish before they can respond." The 5 ships materialized in Rigelian space simultaneously, surrounding the Council blockade fleet. The Council commanders had no time to react before quantum torpedoes and plasma cannons tore through their shields. "This is impossible!" screamed the Council Admiral over emergency frequencies. "How are they flanking us from all directions?" Before the Council ships could coordinate a response, the Wolfpack vanished as suddenly as they had appeared. The rescued Rigelian leaders were safely aboard human ships, jumping instantly to a hidden base in neutral space. Back in the Council's capital system, Chancellor Vextar paced angrily through the High Command chamber. The massive alien looked like a cross between a lizard and an insect, with 4 arms and cold yellow eyes. He had ruled the Council for 50 years, maintaining order through fear and technological superiority. "Admiral Corthan, explain to me how rebel ships are appearing in our most secure systems without using any known FTL method," the Chancellor demanded. Admiral Corthan was a massive creature covered in chitinous armor. His species had served as the Council's military enforcers for centuries. "Chancellor, our scientists cannot explain these phenomena. The ships leave no hyperlane signatures, no quantum wake, no trace of their passage. Are you telling me that primitive species have developed technology superior to ours?" "It appears that way, Chancellor. The attacks show coordination and planning that suggests a widespread resistance network. Multiple species are involved." Chancellor Vexitar's anger was growing dangerous. "Then we will destroy every species suspected of rebellion. If we cannot control them, we will eliminate them?" "Chancellor, that would mean destroying hundreds of civilizations. The political consequences The consequences of losing control are worse, Vexitar roared. Order all fleet commanders to begin systematic destruction of rebel colonies. Make examples that will terrify the others into submission. The Council's brutal response began within days. Entire planets were bombarded from orbit, their populations scattered or killed. But instead of creating terror, the attacks only strengthened the rebellion. On the hidden base asteroid Sanctuary, representatives from dozens of species gathered. For the first Interspecies Liberation Council meeting, Ambassador Dayun represented humanity, while leaders like Elder Krishna of the Zephyrians and Commander Reltak of the Hegemony Refugees shared intelligence and resources. The Council has revealed their true nature, Dayun addressed the Assembly. They claim to maintain galactic peace, but they respond to independence movements with genocide. My people's homeworld was sterilized 3 days ago, reported Elder Mindar of the Celestian Union. 2 billion civilians dead because we dared to build our own starships. The Assembly fell silent. The cost of freedom was becoming clear, but so was the alternative. Under Council rule, they would remain slaves forever. We need to accelerate our operations, suggested Commander Reltak. Every day we delay, more species suffer Council retaliation. Dr. Yunji Choi, now serving as humanity's chief xenobiologist and diplomatic advisor, stood to address the group. We've successfully transferred quantum fold technology to 37 species. Each one can now produce their own drives and share the technology with trusted allies. How long before we have enough ships to challenge Council military forces directly? Asked the Rigelian delegate. Colonel Sungmin's voice came through the communication system from his command ship. Based on current production rates and recruitment, we'll have over 1,000 independent starships within 6 months. The Council fleet numbers about 5,000 ships, but they're spread across the entire galaxy. Numbers aren't everything, Elder Krishna pointed out. Our ships can appear anywhere instantly. Their ships are limited to hyperlane travel, which we can predict and intercept. The strategic advantage was becoming clear. Traditional space warfare assumed that fleets would meet at predictable points along hyperlane routes, but quantum fold technology changed everything. Ships could attack from any direction, retreat instantly, or coordinate complex maneuvers impossible with conventional FTL. I propose we liberate an entire sector, Dahyun suggested. Choose a region with multiple inhabited systems and free them all simultaneously. Show the galaxy that Council control can be broken permanently. The delegates studied star charts projected in the meeting chamber. The Andorian cluster looked promising. 5 star systems containing 12 inhabited worlds, all under direct Council administration, but far from major military bases. The Andorian cluster has strategic value, observed the Mindorian representative. It's a major trading hub and administrative center. If we can hold it, other species will see that rebellion can succeed. Plans began forming rapidly. Human engineers would provide quantum fold drives to resistance cells on each Andorian world. Coordinated strikes would eliminate Council forces throughout the cluster simultaneously. Most importantly, they would establish permanent defensive positions to prevent Council counterattacks. This operation will require precise timing, Colonel Sungmin warned via communication link. We'll need to hit all 12 worlds within the same hour. If the Council realizes what's happening, they could reinforce the remaining systems. Dr. Sunho's voice joined the discussion from Earth. We can provide 36 quantum fold drives for the operation, 3 per world. That should give each liberation force enough ships for the initial strike and ongoing defense. As the meeting concluded, the delegates felt a mixture of hope and fear. They were planning the largest military operation in galactic history, challenging an empire that had ruled for 1,000 years. Ambassador Dahyun remained behind as the others departed to their various ships and hiding places. She looked out through the asteroid base's observation windows at the stars beyond. Elder Krishna approached her quietly. Do you think we can succeed, Ambassador? The Council has so much power, so many ships. Dahyun smiled confidently. Chancellor Vexitar stood in the center of the Council's war room, his 4 arms gesturing frantically at the holographic display showing the Andorian cluster. Every world in the sector had declared independence simultaneously. Their Council garrisons, destroyed or captured in coordinated strikes that had taken less than 2 hours. Impossible, he hissed through his translator device. 12 worlds cannot coordinate attacks across 5-star systems without using our communication networks, yet somehow they did exactly that. War Prime Zelthok, the Council's most fanatical military commander, studied the tactical reports with his compound eyes. His insect-like species had served as the Council's shock troops for centuries, believing absolutely in the righteousness of their cause. Chancellor, the rebels use that phantom technology again. Our sensors detected no hyperlane activity, no jump gate usage. Ships simply appeared in orbit around each world, struck our forces, and vanished. Then we used the world breakers, Vextar declared coldly. If we cannot control these systems, we will make examples of them that will terrify the galaxy into submission. Admiral Corthan shifted uncomfortably. Even by Council standards, the world breakers were extreme weapons. Each one was a massive dreadnought powered by enslaved psychic beings, capable of cracking planets or sterilizing entire star systems. Chancellor, deploying the world breakers against civilian populations will turn every neutral species against us. The political cost. The cost of losing control is higher, Vextar roared. For 1,000 years, the Council has maintained order through superior technology. If primitive rebels can challenge us with impunity, our entire civilization will collapse. Unknown to the Council leadership, their conversation was being monitored. Deep in the space station's lower levels, a maintenance worker named Yuki, who was secretly part of the Resistance Network, recorded every word through hidden surveillance devices. Within minutes, the intelligence reached Admiral Hyan Cho aboard, the human flagship New Sol. The massive warship was humanity's most advanced vessel, equipped with experimental weapons and the most powerful quantum fold drive ever built. They're bringing the world breakers to Nexus Prime, Haeyun announced to her command staff. This is what we've been preparing for. The final battle. Captain Wu Jin Jung, now serving as her tactical officer, studied the intelligence reports. How many world breakers do they have? 12 confirmed, possibly more, replied Commander Sion Ko from the intelligence station. Each one is the size of a small moon and protected by escort fleets. They've never been defeated in battle. That's because no one has ever faced them with quantum fold technology, Haeyun said grimly. Signal all Allied fleets. Operation Liberation begins in 6 hours. Across the galaxy, the largest fleet in history began assembling through quantum fold jumps. Ships from 43 different species materialized in the hidden staging area, a nebula cloud that concealed them from Council sensors. The diversity was staggering. Sleek Zephyrian cruisers folded space alongside massive Rigelian battleships and swift Mindorian fighters. Each vessel was equipped with quantum fold drives built by human engineers, but customized for their species' unique needs. Engineer Kyung-Soo An worked frantically aboard his mobile workshop ship, making final modifications to the experimental weapons. Admiral, the quantum phase torpedoes are ready for deployment. When they detonate, they'll create temporary space-time distortions that should disrupt the world breakers' power systems. What about the psychic beings powering those ships? Asked Dr. Min Jae-yoon, the fleet's chief scientist. Intelligence suggests the Council is using enslaved telepaths as living batteries. That's where Specialist Ryu comes in, Haeyun replied, gesturing to a young woman at a specialized console. Chaeyoung Ryu was one of the few humans who had developed psychic abilities, and she had trained extensively to communicate with alien minds. I can establish contact with the enslaved beings, Chaeyoung explained. If I can convince them to stop channeling power to the weapons, the world breakers will be helpless. The plan was risky and complex. While the main fleet engaged the Council, forces at Nexus Prime, specialized teams would use quantum phase technology to penetrate the world breakers' defenses and reach the psychic chambers. Chaeyoung would then attempt to free the enslaved beings, turning the Council's ultimate weapons against them. As the Allied fleet prepared to fold space toward Nexus Prime, Chancellor Vextar was making his final preparations. The Council's home system bristled with defensive installations, orbital fortresses, and the largest concentration of warships in galactic history. All world breakers report ready for combat, War Prime Zelthok announced. The psychic generators are operating at maximum efficiency. We can sterilize every rebel world within hours. Excellent, Vextar replied. When this battle is over, the galaxy will remember why the Council has ruled for 1,000 years. No species will ever dare challenge us again. But even as he spoke, space began to twist and fold around Nexus Prime. The Allied fleet emerged from quantum space in perfect formation, surrounding the Council forces from all directions simultaneously. Admiral Hayun's voice broadcast across all frequencies. Council forces, this is Admiral Hayun Cho of the Galactic Liberation Fleet. Surrender immediately and release all enslaved beings, or face the consequences of your tyranny. Chancellor Vextar's response was immediate and predictable. All ships, destroy the rebels. Show them the price of defying the Council. The battle began instantly, but it was unlike any space combat in galactic history. Council ships tried to form traditional battle lines, but their enemies simply vanished and reappeared behind them. Human ships used quantum fold technology to attack from impossible angles, while their alien allies coordinated strikes with precision that defied conventional tactics. Their fleet discipline is perfect, Admiral Corthan reported in growing panic. They're fighting as a single coordinated unit across hundreds of ships. How is this possible? The answer was quantum communication technology that allowed instant coordination across the entire battlefield. While Council forces relied on slower-than-light transmissions that created delays and confusion, the Liberation Fleet responded to threats as a unified organism. Captain Wu Jin led a squadron of fast attack ships in strikes against the World Breakers, escort fleets. Phase torpedoes away! Target their hyperlane generators. If they can't retreat, they can't regroup. The quantum weapons created devastating effects. When they detonated, space-time itself became unstable around Council ships. Hulls cracked under impossible stresses, and hyperlane drives simply stopped functioning. But the World Breakers themselves remained dangerous. Each massive ship began charging its planet-killing weapons, preparing to destroy Allied vessels with concentrated energy beams that could melt asteroids. Specialist Ryu, you're up, Admiral Hayun announced. Boarding teams are standing by. Chae-Young closed her eyes and reached out with her mind across the chaos of battle. Deep within the World Breakers, she could sense the enslaved psychic beings. Dozens of different species, all suffering in psychic chains that had bound them for decades. I can feel them, she whispered. They're in so much pain. The Council has been draining their life force for years. The boarding teams folded space directly into the World Breakers' cores, bypassing all external defenses. Human Marines and alien commandos fought their way through the ship's corridors, while Chae-Young maintained psychic contact with the imprisoned beings. You don't have to serve them anymore, she projected with her mind. We're here to free you. Help us break your chains. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Centuries of rage and hatred erupted from the enslaved psychics as they finally had someone who could hear their pain. The psychic backlash tore through the World Breakers' systems like lightning. One by one, the massive ships began turning their weapons against the Council fleet. The enslaved beings, finally free to choose their own targets, had no love for their former masters. Impossible! War Prime Zelthok screamed as his flagship came under fire from a World Breaker. The psychic generators are supposed to be completely controlled. Perhaps you should have treated your slaves better, Admiral Hayun replied over the communication channel. The battle became a rout. Council ships found themselves caught between the Liberation Fleet's quantum tactics and their own, turned superweapons. Some ships tried to retreat through hyperlane jumps, only to find their routes blocked by Allied vessels that had folded space to intercept them. Chancellor Vextar watched his empire crumble from the bridge of his command station. Around Nexus Prime, Council fleets burned in the void while member species declared independence one after another. Chancellor, we're receiving surrender offers from 17 Council member worlds, a communications officer reported. They're requesting protection from the Liberation Fleet. Traitors! Vextar snarled. All of them! Traitors and cowards! But even as he raged, more reports flooded in. The hegemony of Korval had switched sides mid-battle, using human-provided quantum drives to attack their former allies. The Techno Syndicate had abandoned their positions entirely, folding space to unknown destinations. Admiral Corthan approached the Chancellor carefully. Sir, I recommend we evacuate Nexus Prime. The battle is lost and our position is no longer defensible. President Jisoo, O stood on the observation deck of the space station New Horizon, watching as ships from hundreds of different species arrived for the historic peace conference. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Nexus Prime ended the IEO Galactic Council's rule, but the work of building something better was only beginning. Madam President, the delegation from the former hegemony of Korthul has arrived, reported Director Hansel Kim, who now headed the Galactic Liberation Council's diplomatic corps. They're requesting private meetings before the main conference begins. Jisoo nodded thoughtfully. The Korthul had been one of the Council's most oppressive member species, and their transition to freedom had been particularly difficult. Schedule. The meeting for this afternoon. We need to hear what they have to say. Through the massive windows, she could see the diversity of the new galactic community. Sleek Zephyrian ships docked alongside massive Rigelian freighters and tiny Mindorian scouts. Each vessel was equipped with quantum fold technology, making them equals in the new age of independent space travel. Dr. Minho Kang, now recognized as the liberator of the galaxy, worked tirelessly in his expanded laboratory aboard the station. With Dr. Su-Yung No, he was training scientists from dozens of species in the principles of quantum fold technology. The mathematics are complex, Minho explained to a group of young alien students. But the basic concept is simple. Space and time are not fixed barriers. They can be folded, twisted, and manipulated by those who understand the quantum nature of reality. A Zephyrian student raised her hand. Dr. Kang, why did the Council never discover this technology? They ruled for 1,000 years. Because they stopped innovating, Su-Yung answered. When you have absolute power, you stop looking for new solutions. The Council became comfortable with their hyperlane technology and never imagined there might be better ways to travel. The students represented the hope of the new galaxy. Unlike previous generations who had grown up under Council control, these young beings would learn quantum physics as easily as basic mathematics. No species would ever again be denied the stars, but not everyone embraced the new order. In the Outer Rim territories, former Council Admiral Carthon had gathered a fleet of loyalist ships and declared himself the true Council. His forces raided independent worlds and tried to restore the old system through violence. Captain Gayung Chai led the response missions in her exploration ship Quantum Pioneer. Unlike the massive warships used in the Liberation War, her vessel was designed for speed and stealth, perfect for hunting pirates in the lawless regions. Admiral Carthon's fleet was spotted in the Vegan sector, her communications officer reported. Local defense forces are requesting assistance. Set course for Vega, Gayung ordered. Let's remind these Council remnants that the old days are over. The Quantum Pioneer folded space and arrived at Vega within seconds. Carthon's ships were attacking a peaceful trading station, trying to steal quantum fold drives for their own use. This is Captain Che of the Liberation Forces, she broadcast to the attackers. Cease your assault immediately and prepare to be boarded. Carthon's response was predictable. The Council's authority is eternal. We will never submit to primitive rebels. The battle was brief and decisive. Carthon's ships were built for the old style of warfare, with heavy armor and powerful weapons, but limited mobility. Against vessels that could appear anywhere instantly, they were helpless. Another group of pirates dealt with, Gayung reported, to Director Hansel back at New Horizon. But I'm concerned about the pattern. These aren't random attacks. Someone is coordinating the Council remnants. Her concern was justified. In a hidden base in the Dead Stars region, Chancellor Velandra of the Restoration Movement was indeed organizing former Council forces. Unlike the fanatical loyalists, she represented those who wanted to find a middle path between the old tyranny and complete chaos. Fellow Council members, she addressed a gathering of former officials and military officers. We cannot restore the old system through force, but we can earn a place in the new galaxy by proving we have learned from our mistakes. The Restoration Movement was controversial. Many liberation species wanted nothing to do with former Council members, while others believed that reconciliation was necessary for lasting peace. Elder Youngjae Ro, humanity's first galactic coordinator, found himself mediating between these opposing viewpoints during the peace conference. The elderly diplomat had spent decades studying galactic politics and understood the delicate balance required for lasting peace. The desire for revenge is understandable, he told a joint session of species representatives. The Council's crimes were real and severe. But if we exclude entire species from the new order simply because of their past affiliations, we risk creating new conflicts. The debate was intense. Elder Krishna of the Zephyrians argued for forgiveness. My people suffered under council rule for centuries, but we cannot build a peaceful future on foundations of hatred. Commander Reltak of the Hegemony Refugees disagreed. Easy words from those whose worlds were not destroyed. The council members who participated in genocide should face justice, not redemption. President Jisoo found herself in the difficult position of balancing these competing demands. The new galactic government needed legitimacy with all species, but it also needed to address the crimes of the past. We will establish truth and reconciliation commissions, she announced after days of debate. Former council members who cooperate fully and make amends for past actions can earn citizenship in the new galactic community. Those who refuse will face justice in international courts. The compromise satisfied few people completely, but it provided a path forward. Chancellor Velandra's restoration movement became the first former council faction to formally join the new galactic government, though under strict supervision. Meanwhile, Dr. Minho's research had taken an unexpected turn. While exploring ancient databases recovered from council archives, he discovered evidence of previous galactic civilizations that had developed quantum-fold technology. "This is incredible," he told his research team. "The council wasn't the first galactic empire. There have been at least 3 previous civilizations that achieved galaxy-wide dominance, and each one was eventually overthrown by quantum-fold technology." Dr. Soo-young studied the ancient records with growing amazement. "Look at this timeline. Every 2,000 years, approximately, a new quantum-fold breakthrough occurs and destroys the existing power structure. It's like a cycle of technological evolution." The implications were staggering. Quantum-fold technology didn't just enable faster travel, it was fundamentally destabilizing to any centralized authority. In a galaxy where anyone could appear, anywhere instantly, traditional concepts of borders and control became meaningless. "We're not just building a new government," Minho realized. "We're participating in a pattern that has repeated throughout galactic history. The question is, how do we break the cycle?" Elder Youngjae pondered this question as he worked on the Treaty of New Horizons, the document that would formally establish the new galactic order. Unlike previous empires built on control and scarcity, the new government would be based on voluntary cooperation and shared technology. "The key is decentralization," he explained to the Treaty Drafting Committee. "No single species or government can control quantum-fold technology. It must remain free and available to all." The treaty took months to negotiate, with input from over 3,000 species. The final document established fundamental principles that would govern the new galaxy. First, quantum-fold technology would remain open source and freely available to all sentient species. No government could restrict or monopolize FTL travel. Second, the new Galactic Cooperation Council would operate on consensus rather than dominance. Decisions affecting multiple species required agreement from all involved parties. Third, exploration and scientific advancement would be shared endeavors. No species would be excluded from galactic society based on their technological level or political system. Fourth, conflicts would be resolved through mediation and consensus building rather than military force. The signing ceremony was held on New Horizon Station with representatives from every known sapient species in attendance. President Jisoo signed for humanity, while Elder Youngjae served as the ceremony's presiding officer. "Today we begin a new chapter in galactic history," Youngjae declared as the final signatures were added to the treaty. "Not as subjects of an empire, but as free beings choosing to work together for the benefit of all." As the ceremony concluded, Captain Gayung returned from another exploration mission with remarkable news. Her ship had discovered a region of space containing the ruins of the first quantum-fold civilization, including intact archives that stretched back over 10,000 years. "The records show that this cycle has repeated at least 5 times, she reported to the assembled leaders. "Each quantum-fold civilization eventually becomes complacent and is overthrown by the next breakthrough. But this time might be different." "Why?" asked Elder Krishna. "Because for the first time, a quantum-fold civilization is deliberately preventing centralization," Gayung explained. "Previous empires tried to control the technology. We're giving it away freely. Dr. Minho nodded in agreement.